So something strange happened to me while I was playing Among Us. It was approaching 12 in the morning, and since I couldn't sleep, I got on Among Us. But that's when a player by the name of Werewolf joined, which would change everything. But before we get into the match, I want to ask you guys a favor. If you can take a few seconds of your day to hit that like button, you're amazing. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more story videos, make sure that you hit that subscribe button with the bell icon turned on. But now, let's get into the game. I was lucky enough to be the imposter, and I was really excited. I had to fake keys in the beginning, because the crewmates usually always question whenever you skip this task. I then entered security and I was checking cameras to get a better understanding of where all the crewmates were located, and they were spread across the map, which is always a good thing. I then noticed that Black was an electrical, and he turned off the lights, but then I could hear the sounds of a wolf howling out in the distance. I couldn't tell if it was coming from outside or in the game. It must be coming from Reactor. And that's when I found Werewolf. Was he the one that was making the wolf noise? I didn't want to question it, so I went over to Vitals to see if the other imposter did any eliminations. And while I was checking, he did. He took out Brown. I was gonna report the body, but someone already did. And when I was about to read the chat, I saw a message from Werewolf. He said, "Howl." I didn't want to question why he was howling, and none of the other crewmates questioned it as well. The majority of us skipped, even though some players voted for green, but nobody was ejected. I still had plenty of time to win this game, and I was walking around the map to see if I could find anyone that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was in the laboratory faking a task, and I saw my imposter buddy with Gray, and it looked like he wanted to go for a double elimination. But then I could hear the sounds of the wolf. It just kept howling out in the distance, but I don't see no wolf. But I did find Werewolf on the top right reactor. I couldn't tell if he was a wolf, cause he looked like a crewmate. So I tried not to question it, and I was just looking for an opportunity to eliminate a crewmate, but then a body was reported. I opened the chat and the first thing I saw was Werewolf howling. Wait, I just read the message and I heard it out in the distance. I'm not the werewolf. I was in the meeting room, but something was wrong. Not with me, but with Werewolf. He's the one causing all these problems. I'm not the biggest fan of wolves, and Polis has always been that map that is filled with mystery. So there could be wolves hiding in the mountains. I was walking around the map and I could hear the howling, but I was trying my best to ignore it. And then a body was reported. I can't tell if it's my imposter buddy that is getting all these eliminations, or if it's the werewolf. But they were accusing Black, so I try not to question it, and I had to vote for the other imposter. The imposter turned off the lights and I went over there, and it's gonna be a very hard game, especially now that I'm by myself. The taskbar was being filled up really quickly, and I had to move quick, or else I'm not gonna win. So I turned off the lights, but I could hear the howling getting louder, and I was getting really scared, so I hid behind a crate. There was something on the other side, so I ran away and I hid behind a rock. Hopefully the werewolf doesn't see me. It might have been a crewmate, I hope. When I felt safe, I turned off the lights, and I was waiting for a crewmate to get near me. I was running out of time, but nobody was coming. I was all alone. So I entered office, and that's where I found two crewmates. And I took one of them out, hoping that the other one didn't notice, because they were checking vitals, but they reported the body. I was now waiting for my fate, and Werewolf sent a few messages. I blamed the spirit for this curse, and I was then ejected. But what was Werewolf talking about? What spirit? I was back in the lobby, but I wanted to know what Werewolf was talking about. Who is a spirit? Because I was hearing the sounds of a werewolf, and I don't think it's a coincidence that I'm hearing this noise and the player is literally named Werewolf. And that's when I received a very important message. Werewolf said that he was turned into one. I guess that explained why his name is Werewolf. But then I was brought into a game and I was the imposter. I once again faked keys, and I was imposter back to back. What are the odds? And I was frustrated about that last game because I didn't get to win. But as I was walking around the map, I heard the sounds of the werewolf again. So I went over to the left reactor and that's where I found Werewolf. So he must be the one that was making the noise. Cause he did say that he was turned into a werewolf. Somebody called a meeting and they were accusing him. But I told the crewmates that he was with me and that he hasn't done anything. So he wasn't ejected. The sound of the werewolf was getting louder. And I checked the right reactor and I found Werewolf. But I was getting tired of him. So I took him out, which would be a horrible mistake. A body was reported and I was trying to seem less suspicious by being upset over the death of Werewolf, even though you already know the answer to that question on who did it. And the crewmates for some reason wanted to get Green out of here, so I took that chance as well, which would increase my odds of winning. I spawned back in and the lights were still off, and I didn't have to worry about Werewolf, but I was wrong. As I was about to enter the laboratory, I could hear Werewolf, and he was near. So I went to the left reactor to see if I could find Werewolf because he was dead, so there shouldn't be a reason why he's alive. And that's when he appeared right in front of me. He then charged at me and I got inside the vent and I escaped. But he didn't look like a crewmate. He looked like an actual werewolf. And he was wearing boyfriend's clothes. I was getting really scared and I entered admin and luckily I found a body. I don't have to worry about him for now. But while I was telling the crewmates where the body was at, I could hear the sounds of spirits, and one of them flashed on my screen. It was pink. We then ejected Cyan, and I was back in the game even though I didn't want to be here. But I'm so close to this win. I can't leave now. And then we won, but the spirit was here. I entered another game and I was the imposter again. This has to be a sign of some sort. There's no way I can be the imposter that many times. But luckily I didn't have to worry about Werewolf because he never came back. I could then hear the sounds of the werewolf coming from the right reactor. So I made my way over there. And that's when I found the spirit, and he just disappeared. I could then hear the howling coming from the left reactor. So I made my way over there, and that's when the werewolf appeared. It was Werewolf Boyfriend. No wonder he looked so familiar. It was Boyfriend as a werewolf. He then jumped off the cliff, and I ran all the way to admin, and I hid inside the vent. I didn't know what else to do. Werewolf Boyfriend was after me, as well as a spirit. My screen then showed that I won. Out of nowhere, the game was over. Werewolf then sent me a few last messages. The spirit turned me into a werewolf. You will see him soon. Be warned. But I saw him earlier. But then my screen just shut off, and the spirit was there watching me. He's not leaving anytime soon. If you would like me to get rid of the spirit, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel. And check out these other stories.